I handed him the gun out the backseat of the car.
16-year-old Charleston White took the stand and testified against his friend, Antoine Doolittle, who sat just a few feet from him and listened intently.
That nigga said we saw the snitch video, so everybody saw it. It's been on the news before. Just 'cause you saw it, you still broke. It don't change nothing. You still broke. I'm still rich. I'm still getting booked. It don't change nothing.
50 Cent has publicly criticized Charleston White after troubling new evidence was released that allegedly showed White's collaboration with law authorities. Besides, the internet is on fire. In the video, which immediately went viral, Charleston appears to be naming names and characterizing street personalities during a private meeting that, according to sources, was not meant for the public to witness. It didn't take 50 seconds to respond. "I knew dude wasn't built for this," he wrote on Instagram. "The hostile conversation was a facade. We currently have proof."
Everybody's seen it before you seen it. It used to be on the news. I keep telling y'all, I made the news before. All what y'all doing, people I already seen.
White then produced a video compilation of his most controversial moments. Subtitles that accuse him of being a fraud and the loudest snitch in the room.
Doolittle is accused of down 34-year-old Michael Levy of Irving. Levy attempted to stop Doolittle, White, and 2 other teenagers accused of shoplifting 3 sports jackets and a baseball cap from an Arlington mall in September of 1991.
Prominent for his unrestrained rants and provocative insights on street culture, Charleston has gained notoriety for his criticism of rappers, gangs, and even hypocritical campaigners.
Witnesses say Levy pounded on their windshield until the teens threw the jackets out the car window. Then Doolittle supposedly shot him in the back as Levy walked away.
But this new video may have shown the contradiction behind the fraud. Charleston's legitimacy is beginning to be questioned by both fans and critics, and 50 Cent's response has made matters worse.
What did he do?
Even though White hasn't addressed the full leak, silence is more powerful than words. This story might not be over yet, as 50% increases the burden. Once he starts rolling, 50 rarely slows down. 50 Cent never stays silent when there is controversy. Additionally, he is concentrating on Charleston White this time. Charleston White was seen testifying in court against a former friend in recent news footage. Instantly, the internet responded, generating fresh debates and criticism on other websites. In the decades-old footage, White appears to describe how he and his co-worker got into a fatal altercation.
My Prince Charming, I found him, and it's hard to believe, but I did. And I believe in fairy tales because he made my dreams come true. And they took that away.
And according to what he said in the video, Michael Levy was slain by his friend Antoine Doolittle in 1991 as they attempted to loot a department store of winter clothing. White's integrity and genuineness are being questioned by many, especially in organizations that maintain a strict code of silence. 50 Cent has joined the firestorm, and the public's reaction has been swift.
My victim, which was a Caucasian man by the name of Michael Levy, I was sentenced to 12 years under Texas juvenile determined sentencing law. My 3 co-defendants, all of them was tried as adults. They were 15 and older. I was 14. So I went into a boys' home that was co-ed with boys and girls. So I spent my entire teenage life from 14 to 21 in the boys' home. When I got out at 21, my record was sealed, so there's no record of me ever being in trouble for that.
However, Charleston White remains completely unmoved. In an aggressive stance, he has laughed off the accusations and confronted those who question his moral fiber. Therefore, what exactly happened in 1991? What's causing this tale to resurface? More importantly, what is 50 Cent doing to draw attention to this decades-old movie? Let us analyze it. Michael Levy attempted to halt the robbery attempt, which caused the altercation to take a deadly and irreversible turn. As the suspects tossed the stolen goods out of a department store window, Antoine Doolittle put out his revolver and killed Michael, further intensifying the chaos.
All the snitch video, so everybody saw it. It's been on the news before. Just 'cause you saw it, you still broke. It don't change nothing. You still broke. I'm still rich. I'm still getting booked. It don't change nothing.
Charleston White claimed to have been a bystander at the time. At the court hearings, however, he took the witness stand and explicitly implicated his own associate. In his sworn evidence, White admitted to handing Doolittle the revolver before the shooting and described the next exchange. Records from the court state that Doolittle showed no remorse.
The snitch video. So everybody saw it. It's been on the news before. Just because you saw it, you still broke. It don't change nothing. You still broke. I'm still rich. I'm still getting booked. It don't change nothing.
As reported by The Times, White recalled his colleague laughing and casually recounting the event, saying, "Look, I shot him," which only exacerbated the current crisis. It has dire consequences. Michael Levy's death left a deep and enduring sadness, especially for his wife. 4 days into their marriage, the catastrophe ended the couple's future together. However, the repercussions did not stop with Diddle. There were multiple pieces of testimony from Charleston White. Personal. He provided testimony that bolstered the convictions of 3 other individuals. Although he was not absolved of responsibility, his assistance with the prosecution altered his sentencing. The 12-year prison term that White received for his role in the crime would be a watershed in his life for many years to come. In contrast to his co-defendants, Charleston White was sentenced to 12 years in prison.
So what? Why you think I told? I don't give a damn. I ain't friends with nobody.
Primarily due to his judicial testimony. Even though it might have seemed like a severe sentence, Charleston eventually departed with a sealed record, which many considered as a huge advantage because it gave him a new beginning in court. As was to be expected, the recovered video from the original trial made the internet very angry. On social media, criticism exploded instantly, with many accusing Charleston of being a snitch. The video quickly gained widespread attention, reigniting conversations about loyalty, accountability, and the ethics of working with law enforcement, especially in cultures where people hold quiet in high regard. However, Charleston seemed completely unconcerned by the heightened attention. In a public reaction video posted online, he seemed more pleased than concerned as he mocked the criticism. Instead of responding defensively to the charges, he decided to laugh at the situation.
If it is, I hope it is, I want to snitch. I want to snitch, I want to tell, whatever they call telling, snitching, I want to do it. And I want to make it cool to do it.
Brushing off the criticism as idle chit-chat, he has stated that the incident would not have an impact on his public image or career. Charleston highlighted his disobedience even more by saying that he would likely make the whole thing into a stage act. He also stated unequivocally that he was not wary of his testimony, asserting that at the time he had no friends and that he would act in the same manner again without hesitation if the situation arose again. Charleston believed that loyalty ended with self-preservation, an opinion that consistently sparks debate and outrage from the public. Charleston White's unrepentant faith-based behavior and his "it probably shouldn't," but the disrespect for street codes has nevertheless startled audiences. He clearly does not believe that traditional street loyalty is a value worthy of respect, as seen by his public statements and responses. Instead, he supports an alternative mentality founded on lawfulness, self-defense, and civic responsibility, even if it means cooperating with law enforcement or confessing to unlawful actions. According to Charleston, his allegiance or brotherhood is the reason he refuses to go to jail. We're all criminals and crooks. This viewpoint bolsters his larger argument that respect for the law and self-defense take precedence above unity or silence. In another widely circulated interview, Charleston triumphantly declared his citizenship, declaring, "I'm a police-minded individual. I'm going to vote. The truth is, I am an election judge." He made it apparent that he is more interested in civic engagement and the judicial system than he is in criminal allegiance. 40 years of age, he made it clear that he had no desire to be sent to prison before the age of 50 and that he would testify against everyone if it meant staying free. This mindset has made Charleston one of the most polarizing figures in contemporary history. Rumor has it that he cooperated with federal investigators in the apprehension of Brick Baby, another well-known figure. Charleston, rather than dismissing any part or offering an explanation, leaned into the charges, essentially confessing that he had tipped off law officials. He boasted about his role and showed no remorse on the internet. It's a unique tactic in a field that is often quiet and fraught with loyalty rules. Charleston doesn't seem to be changing his stance despite the harsh criticism he gets. The brick baby may have drawn federal attention on his own, but Charleston White made sure the authorities were informed. When Brick posted a video of himself in Houston flaunting bundles of cash and allegedly threatening to hit Charleston, White moved quickly to take action. Instead of responding in silence or with retaliation, he brazenly boasted about going directly to law enforcement. In support of his assertion that he abides by the law rather than breaching it, Charleston claims to have contacts in federal authorities. There were other instances of criticism directed at Charleston's phone call.
Hold on, I'm finna call my son. You got to go to the graveyard to see your son. Say, look, this what my kids give me for Father's Day. Gilly, say Gilly, cash money backup single. Say, cash money backup single. I'm sorry, backup dancer.
For only a year earlier, he was accused of informing the authorities about Boozy Bidaz when Bowie allegedly threatened a Memphis show promoter who had set Charleston aside. The concept of Charleston calling the police or filing a report sparked a frenzy on the internet, even though it was never confirmed. Charleston has maintained that he has not committed any crimes despite ongoing accusations that he is a snitch. He continues to maintain his denial that he is a rat, even though they were involved in several police calls and had previously provided public testimony in court. The term rat doesn't apply to him, Charleston contends, because he isn't seeking incentives or rewards. He's simply behaving in line with his legal and moral beliefs. That being said, this defense has not altered public opinion. Due to the fact that his actions contradict his beliefs, many critics believe Charleston is a shining example of hypocrisy. The online backlash has been harsh, and Charleston's disdainful manner hasn't helped his case. However, based on his past, Charleston is unlikely to give up anytime soon. His objective is without question, as Charleston White has made clear. He is dedicated to helping underprivileged communities at risk youth reorient. After being freed from prison, Charleston has made community outreach a primary focus of his life's work. Using his own tale as a warning to promote accountability and change, he has appeared in town halls, juvenile detention centers, and educational institutions. Nevertheless, one of his most notable initiatives is his involvement with the Excel High program was developed to provide mentorship to young people, especially those who could otherwise join gangs or fall victim to criminal cycles. Charleston helps provide life skills, education, and support systems to youth who might not otherwise have them. At one particularly bold point, Charleston even discussed launching what he dubbed a snitching program for young children. He wanted to provide them ways to not fall into destructive habits. Therefore, he encouraged them to report crimes and protect their futures. According to Charleston, it is unrelated to betrayal. The goal is to break the cycle of silence and self-destruction. But not everybody agrees with his tactics. Gilly Kid was one of the rappers that voiced strong opposition to Charleston's past. On social media, he posted, "Tensions were renewed when media platform X blasted Charleston for what he described as long-standing patterns of snitching." He commented, "Can't beef with Noman, who's been saying since the 90s he's a throwback rat," in his online response. Charleston, who is known for his straightforward responses, made a controversial and highly private comment regarding Gilly's dead child. He received a lot of backlash for both the tone and the length of his response. An awful loss into a public controversy. Although Charleston's actions still show his commitment to better communities, his hostile manner and harsh comments still cause division. It remains uncertain whether his impact will outweigh the criticism. In response to Gilly Deed's criticism, Charleston White went to a whole new level. White replied in a striking intensification, directly to Gilly's online comments, where he makes fun of his son's premature passing in a heartbreaking and offensive video. Without holding back, he publicly discussed the tragedy and ruthlessly exaggerated the anguish. The author of the children's book I Am Wakeful Seed was accused of hypocrisy by Charleston for supporting street rules after a personal loss, in response to Gilly's social media post calling him a throwback rat. Yet, things grew more intense when Charleston, in a movie that mocked the circumstances of Gilly's son's death, employed sound effects and crude impersonations to drive home his unsettling point. Charleston shouted, mimicking gunshots, "You got a dead son, and you're talking about snitching?" In the video, alluding to the grief Gilly and his co-host Wallow expressed following the tragedy, it was much more than debatable. The video was horrific, and many viewers felt it went too far in a moral direction that should never be crossed, regardless of their personal beliefs. Despite Charleston's pride in its adherence to the law, this particular incident exposed a deeper, potentially unresolved displeasure at being labeled an informant. Despite the fact that he had publicly given himself that moniker for years, his decision to attack a father who was mourning for his child caused outrage around the world, led to the cessation of conversation among Charleston's usual supporters. On the other hand, 50 Cent has continued his personal campaign against well-known people that he considers to be disloyal or immoral. 50, who has a reputation for trolling non-stop, has been focusing on Big Meech and continually criticizing him for leaked documents and what he calls rat behavior. 50 has put up a lot of effort, from social media posts to shoutouts at concerts. The opportunity to face Meech. Of course, Charleston White had thoughts on the subject as well. When Charleston appeared on the Danza Project, he referred to the entire 50 Cent vs. Big Meech controversy as unfair. He says the two men don't even work together. Meech is a street figure, whereas 50 is a strategic entertainer. The rapper was using his position to disparage someone who couldn't respond appropriately, Charleston said, calling 50 a bully. Whatever Charleston White wants to say, no matter how hurtful or polarizing it may be, he will say it to Gilly, Meech, or anybody else who is in his sights. Still, with tensions increasing on multiple fronts, the issue of how far is too far remains. When the name Charleston White was mentioned again, what was 50 Cent's response? It's interesting that 50 didn't try to kill this time. 50 Cent didn't instantly launch into a standard online tirade, instead seeming to accept Charleston's perspective without saying anything negative. In fact, he stayed professional, bringing up the issue casually while promoting his latest concert on Instagram. This transformation shocked a few individuals. It is possible that Charleston's remarks were not taken as direct threats. Alternatively, 50 might be concentrating his efforts elsewhere at the moment, especially considering his ongoing critique of Big Meech and other contemporary issues. Regardless, Charleston White may have avoided accountability this time, but it's clear that his reputation for igniting online debates hasn't changed. Charleston is unconcerned about the critique. In support of his views, he often asserts that he is a law-abiding individual working to reform a society plagued by destructive loyalty codes. On the internet, a lot of individuals are still not convinced. His actions, especially his most recent remarks aimed at grieving families, have left a bad taste in the mouths of many who once found his message to be inspiring. The conclusion of this story leaves us wondering, is Charleston White truly trying to effect change, or is he just stirring up controversy to stay in the spotlight? Does his strategy help the community or create further division? In the space provided for comments below, kindly express your thoughts. If you've read this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. It is quite advantageous to the channel. Go now. In the following video, discover how this drama connects to a much more general subject.